Welcome to our channel. Most people ignore nickels, but smart collectors know better. Because tucked among the ordinary are a few that can be shockingly valuable, waiting to be discovered by those who know where to look. Make sure to watch till the end, you won't want to miss the incredible stories behind these rare 5-cent treasures. You won't believe this, one tiny coin, just 5 cents in face value, recently stunned collectors across the country. It's not silver. It's not gold. It's not even that old. Yet it's turning heads, drawing bids, and making serious waves in the coin world. And it might just be sitting unnoticed in someone's drawer right now. Let's kick off today's video with something truly special, the 2004 Lewis and Clark nickel. At first glance, it might look like any other nickel you've seen. But this coin isn't just a piece of spare change, it's a miniature masterpiece hiding in plain sight. It tells a story, marks a turning point in American history, and has become one of the most desirable modern nickels in the collector's market. Now, here's what makes this coin stand out. The year 2004 marked the bicentennial of one of the most legendary adventures in American history, the Lewis and Clark expedition. And to honor that 200-year anniversary, the U.S. Mint decided to break tradition. For the first time in decades, they redesigned the nickel. This was huge. The familiar side profile of President Jefferson that had graced the coin since 1938. Gone. Replaced with a brand new, bold design that shook things up. On the front, instead of the usual left-facing portrait, we got a striking new image, a forward-facing Jefferson. It gave the coin a modern, direct, almost confrontational look, as if Jefferson himself was looking straight into the future. But the back, that's where the magic happens. The reverse of the coin features a detailed depiction of the Lewis and Clark expedition's iconic keelboat gliding down the Missouri River. There are tiny figures aboard, including a tall one said to represent Clark himself, standing at the helm, guiding the journey. The design captures movement, purpose, and exploration. It's more than just an image, it's a tribute to a time when the American frontier was wild, vast, and filled with the unknown. This nickel wasn't just another commemorative piece. It became the start of what collectors now know as the Westward Journey Nickel Series, a set of coins that would continue over the next 2 years. But 2004 was the beginning, and beginnings are always special. Millions of these coins were minted, that's true. But here's where things get interesting. Even with all those produced, only a tiny fraction remain in flawless, untouched condition. Most were tossed into pockets, handed over counters, scraped in coin jars. And with nickels being such a common denomination, very few people thought to save them. The result? The number of high-grade, pristine 2004 Lewis and Clark nickels today is shockingly small. Collectors now scramble to find coins in mint state 68 or higher, especially those that were specially struck for collectors, the proof versions with mirror-like finishes and frosted details. These are the real prizes. But here's the catch, achieving a grade of MS70 or PR70, meaning absolutely perfect with zero flaws under magnification, is nearly impossible. And when a coin like that shows up, especially from a key year like 2004 with such a historic design, serious collectors go to battle for it. We're talking about collectors who have spent decades building sets, some who only need this one final coin to complete the series in top grade. They don't just want it. They need it. And that obsession creates intense demand, especially for the best-known specimens. When only a handful exist in perfect condition, prices don't just rise, they explode. Every flawless surface, every sharp detail adds thousands in value. Because for collectors, perfection isn't just a goal, it's a trophy. And this particular coin? It checks every single box: beauty, story, and scarcity. We're talking about coin auctions where the atmosphere is tense, the bids are rapid fire, and the competition is intense. And in one jaw-dropping moment, a single perfectly graded 2004 Lewis and Clark nickel made headlines, not because of its size, not because of its material, but because of its rarity. Just think about that. A coin worth 5 cents. A coin most people wouldn't give a second glance. But when found in absolute perfect condition, flawless surface, perfect strike, stunning eye appeal, it shattered expectations. One such coin sold for a staggering $53,000. Yes, $53,000. For a nickel. This isn't fiction. This isn't hype. This is the real value of rarity. A perfect example of how something ordinary becomes extraordinary when preserved, appreciated, and recognized for what it truly is, a piece of American history, locked in metal. So before you toss that handful of change on your dresser tonight, take a closer look. Because it's not always the oldest coins that hold the most value, sometimes, it's the ones hiding in plain sight. Imagine finding one of these in your pocket, the thrill, the disbelief, the rush. That moment could change your collection, or your life, forever. Up next, we've got a coin that looks deceptively ordinary, until you see what makes it so incredibly rare. The 1983 D. Jefferson nickel. Minted at the Denver Mint, this coin quietly circulated across the United States for decades, blending into everyday transactions without raising an eyebrow. Yet, among the millions produced, there exists one coin so exceptional, so flawless, that it has collectors absolutely stunned. Let's rewind and understand why. By 1983, the Jefferson nickel had been a familiar presence in American currency for over 4 decades. Its design, featuring Thomas Jefferson's profile on the front and Monticello on the reverse, was iconic and consistent. There were no special editions or redesigns that year, just the steady production of the nickel as the country moved through a challenging economic period. But 1983 was a unique year for coin collectors. Unlike most years, the U.S. Mint did not release official mint sets for circulation coins. Mint sets typically guarantee collectors coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition, straight from the mint, untouched by wear or handling. Without these sets in 1983, collectors had to rely solely on coins pulled from circulation, coins that had been jostled, scratched, and worn by everyday use. This absence of mint sets had a massive impact on collectors. It made finding coins in truly mint condition incredibly difficult, especially for common dates like 1983. This is where the story of the 1983 D. Jefferson nickel becomes fascinating. One of the most critical details that coin graders focus on when evaluating Jefferson nickels is the depiction of Monticello, specifically the staircase on the building's reverse. Known as the steps, these tiny lines are a telltale sign of a coin's strike quality. On most coins, these steps appear weak or even incomplete due to worn dies or insufficient striking pressure during minting. For the 1983 D nickel, achieving what collectors call full steps, where every line on the staircase is fully visible and sharply struck, is exceedingly rare. The majority of surviving coins show some softness in this area, making full-step examples highly coveted. Now, add the grading factor into the mix. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect, flawless coin. The 1983 D. Jefferson nickel's challenge is that no coins from circulation that year are known to have achieved the absolute highest grades, because most were heavily circulated or showed some wear. Enter the one and only 1983 D. Jefferson nickel graded mint state 68 with full steps, the finest known example of its kind. This coin has virtually no marks, pristine surfaces, and the coveted sharp details on Monticello's steps. To put that in perspective, this is a coin that beat the odds on multiple fronts, surviving decades without a single blemish, perfectly struck in a year without mint sets, and carrying a level of detail that's almost unheard of for this date and mint. So why does this matter so much? Collectors crave rarity and perfection. It's not enough for a coin to just be old or common, it must be unique in condition and appearance to stand out. This 1983 D nickel is a trophy piece, the crown jewel for collectors building Jefferson nickel sets. Owning it means holding a coin no one else has, a piece of numismatic history that commands respect. Every coin has a story, but this one tells a story of survival against all odds, a journey from mass production to unmatched rarity. It's a symbol of perseverance in the world of coin collecting, where condition is king and detail is everything. The passion collectors have for such rare finds is what drives the market and turns simple coins into priceless treasures. When this coin went up for auction, the excitement was palpable. Serious collectors, dealers, and investors all recognized its significance. Phone lines lit up, bidding wars erupted, and the price soared. Finally, when the hammer came down, the coin sold for an astounding $71,000. A 5-cent coin, worth more than most gold and silver pieces, simply because it represents the pinnacle of rarity and condition. This sale sends a powerful message: in the coin world, it's not about the metal or face value, it's about the story, the scarcity, and the perfection. So next time you see a nickel, don't dismiss it as mere pocket change. There could be a hidden treasure waiting to be found. The right coin, in the right condition, can change everything. Because sometimes, the greatest fortunes come from the smallest, most unassuming coins. A 5-cent coin, worth more than most gold and silver pieces, simply because it represents the pinnacle of rarity and condition. It's a stunning reminder that value isn't always about the metal or the face stamped on a coin, it's about its story, its scarcity, and the incredible journey it has survived through time. This sale sends a powerful message to collectors and casual holders alike: in the coin world, true worth comes from history and preservation. A coin's metal content is just a small part of the equation. What really drives value is how rare it is to find that coin in perfect condition, untouched, unblemished, and carrying with it a legacy few others can match. So next time you see a nickel, don't dismiss it as mere pocket change or something insignificant. That small, everyday coin could be hiding a hidden treasure, waiting patiently for someone to recognize its true worth. The right coin, in the right condition, can change everything, not just for collectors, but for anyone who understands the power of rarity and history. Now let's explore a coin that might be sitting in plain sight, one that no one expected to be valuable, yet somehow rose above its billions of twins to become something truly legendary. It's the 1994 P. Lincoln cent, a coin you've probably handled dozens of times without a second glance. Just a simple penny. 1 cent. The smallest denomination in your pocket. But one particular example of this coin has earned a place in numismatic history, and its story is nothing short of astonishing. Think about the year 1994. The world wasn't all that different from today. People were still paying with cash. Pocket change was part of daily life. A penny could still get you somewhere, maybe not far, but somewhere. At the Philadelphia Mint, billions of Lincoln cents were struck that year, over 6.5 billion, in fact. That's the kind of number that makes a coin feel meaningless. When there are billions of something, rarity seems impossible. But that's exactly what makes this story so compelling. Because out of those billions, one single coin was different. The 1994 P. Lincoln cent wasn't made with any special plan in mind. There were no commemorations, no design changes, no special materials. It was struck from the same copper-plated zinc composition that had been used since the early 1980s, bearing the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. It was just another piece of currency, something to be spent, used, forgotten. Most people never gave it a second look. And why would they? But somewhere along the way, 1 cent avoided the fate of the others. It didn't get scraped up in someone's pocket. It wasn't thrown in a jar or rattled around in a vending machine. It wasn't stepped on, lost in a parking lot, or left to tone in a drawer for decades. Somehow, one single 1994 P. penny emerged from the minting process in absolute perfection, and stayed that way. And when it was eventually examined under a trained eye, it stunned even seasoned experts. Not just because it was well preserved, but because it was perfect in every measurable way. The coin had managed to survive the chaotic, high-speed environment of the mint completely untouched. It had the bold, fiery red luster of a freshly struck cent. Not a single nick or flaw disrupted the surface. Even under 5x magnification, it held its ground. This wasn't just luck. It was a numismatic miracle. Now, what makes a coin valuable? It's not just age, though that can help. It's not always about metal, either. It's about condition, rarity, demand. And when all of those things collide, when a coin exists in a condition so pristine it borders on impossible, something magical happens. That's what occurred with the 1994 P. Lincoln cent. It wasn't just in good shape. It was in flawless shape. Immaculate surfaces. Razor-sharp detail. Blazing, original red color. Zero imperfections under magnification. That level of quality is extremely rare for a coin struck in such huge numbers, especially when it was never intended to be collected or preserved. Most coins from 1994 that still exist today are scuffed, dull, or simply unremarkable. Even the nicest ones often fall short when viewed through a magnifying lens. But not this one. This single example achieved a grade so high, so unlikely, that it earned the title of finest known, the best example of its kind ever discovered. And that's where the real value lies. Because in the world of collecting, being the best isn't just about pride, it's about uniqueness. And uniqueness changes everything. Imagine being the only one to own the highest graded example of a coin. That's more than a trophy, it's a one-of-one item in a sea of billions. A coin that becomes legendary not because of age, but because of condition. This 1994 P cent didn't just sneak through history quietly. It stood up and said, "I am the exception. I am the rarest version of the most common thing." And that is exactly the kind of story collectors are willing to pay for. The coin community values these perfect survivors more than most people realize. They know how hard it is for a coin to remain untouched. They understand what it means when one manages to beat the odds. That's why coins like this climb in value, not because they're shiny, but because they represent something nearly impossible. This coin, a single cent among billions, didn't just survive, it remained flawless. And when it was graded at a level no other 1994 P cent had ever achieved, it entered a class of its own. It's more than just a collector's item, it's a physical reminder of how perfection can still exist in a world built on speed and mass production. In an era where everything is made fast, cheap, and forgettable, something that resists time, damage, and handling becomes priceless. This coin challenges the assumption that modern coins can't be valuable. It proves that attention to detail still matters. That the rarest things can come from the most ordinary places. The result? The value of that single coin, that single penny, is now estimated at an incredible $95,000. Moving on to the final coin of today's video, and this one is a real eye-opener, especially for those who assume that only old or rare date coins hold value. Let's talk about the 2018 P. Jefferson nickel, a coin that's still young by numismatic standards, yet has already carved out a surprising space in collector conversations, not because of its age, but because of a very particular and very noticeable error. At first glance, it's easy to dismiss modern coins like this. After all, 2018 wasn't that long ago. Most of us still have coins from that year floating around in our pockets, car trays, or kitchen drawers. The Jefferson nickel, with its familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse, has become part of the background noise of everyday currency. But that's exactly what makes this next part so fascinating, because within that sea of ordinary nickels, some were struck with something extraordinary. We're talking about error coins, minting mishaps that sneak past the rigid quality control systems of the US Mint and make their way into circulation. And when those errors are dramatic enough, clear enough, and rare enough, they instantly draw the attention of collectors. Not every error adds value. But some. They change everything. The 2018 P. Jefferson nickel we're focusing on today features a major die clash, an error that occurs when the dies used to strike the coin come into contact with each other without a coin blank between them. That impact leaves imprints of the design on the opposite die, which then transfers ghost-like images onto the next coin struck. The result? You get eerie, misplaced design elements, often mirrored or off-center, where they were never meant to be. On the 2018 P nickel, These die clashes can sometimes appear as outlines or shadows of Jefferson's features showing up where they shouldn't, or even strange doubling and marks across Monticello's iconic columns. To the untrained eye, it might just look like a weird smudge. But to a collector, that's an unmistakable sign of a minting error, and a potential goldmine. Now, it's important to understand that not every 2018 P nickel has this error. In fact, only a very small number show these distinct die clash marks with enough clarity to be noticed, let alone valued. And the clearer and more dramatic the clash, the more interest it generates. Combine that with a coin in high-grade condition, meaning minimal wear, strong strike, full details, and suddenly you're holding something that goes well beyond pocket change. What makes this even more compelling is that coins like this can easily be overlooked in everyday life. It might already be in a handful of change you received at the gas station. It might be sitting in a jar you haven't touched in years. Most people won't notice. Most won't look twice. But the few who do, the ones who pause, inspect, recognize, they're the ones who understand just how special a modern error like this can be. And because this is such a recent coin, many of these error pieces are still out there, unaccounted for. That's what makes them so exciting. There's still a chance. Still time. Still the possibility of stumbling onto one with a sharp eye and a little patience. Collectors prize coins like this not just for their visual oddity, but for what they represent, a glitch in a system designed for perfection. In a place where precision is king, error becomes beauty. A coin like the 2018 P die clash nickel is valuable not because it was meant to be, but because it wasn't. It's a product of chance, accident, and a moment of uncontrolled impact that left a permanent mark. So if you're going through your change and you spot something strange on a 2018 nickel, a face where it shouldn't be, a shadow that doesn't belong, or a doubling that doesn't make sense, don't toss it back. Don't spend it without a second thought. That odd-looking coin might be one of the rare few that carries more than just face value. No, we're not going to pin an exact dollar amount on it. That's not what today is about. But know this, coins like this are being recognized, are being collected, and in the right condition with the right error, they can be worth far more than what's stamped on the front. That's the thrill of coin collecting, the idea that something extraordinary might be hiding in the most ordinary places. All it takes is curiosity, attention to detail, and maybe a little bit of luck. So go check that change jar. Look a little closer the next time someone hands you a nickel. Because sometimes, value doesn't scream, it whispers through tiny imperfections, waiting for someone who knows how to listen. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through 4 fascinating coins, each with its own story, mystery, and hidden value. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another coin story like this. Your support means everything. Every like, every comment, and every share helps us keep bringing you more hidden treasures and surprising finds from the world of numismatics. Got a rare coin of your own? Or maybe you found something strange in your change lately? Drop us a comment below, we'd love to hear your discoveries and maybe even feature them in a future video. Thank you again for watching, and as always, keep looking closely, because you never know what valuable piece of history might be right in your hands.